this was the week we saw a 60-year-old man from South Trinidad who got vaccinated. He had a heart condition, so he went to get vaccinated, and about a week after, a little over a week after, I believe they said, his family reported that he had some severe reactions to it, and that the reactions had a lot to do with blood clots. Yes, the same blood clots that have been very scary in England, because 7 people have been reported dead because of blood clots, and they're wondering if it's related to the vaccine. They think it may be related, but they're also saying that the benefits still outweigh the disadvantages of it, the disadvantages being possible blood clots and death. But in this case, the family reported that he had blood clots, and when he went to the hospital, the family said that the doctors told them there's nothing they could do for them, and that they're sure that there's nothing else it could be but the vaccine, that the only possible reasoning is the vaccine, which is very strange, because my knowledge of doctors, that isn't generally how doctors go. Doctors don't just offer that information on the fly until a full investigation is done.
Yeah, sure, yeah, we'll put it in the next video, yeah. Hey, you there? Enjoying the video? I'm the producer for this video, and if you like it, give it a like. Comment, tell me what you think if you reach to the end, and subscribe. We have new videos coming up. As much time as we have, we bring them as soon as we can. Stay tuned.
So it would be interesting to see exactly which doctors told them this and what the doctors saw that they gave them this idea. And it became very interesting, more interesting so, because the Southwest Regional Health Authority, which is the authority in charge of that entire region and the hospitals in that region, they came out and said that there's no evidence to link the vaccine to this man's condition, that they found no evidence to do so. So how could the health authority that would have their own doctors, and that the doctors in the hospital that the man went to are underneath the Southwest Regional Health Authority, those doctors there, and those doctors there are the same ones that the family reported told them that they were sure it's because of the vaccine. Now in this case, it seems like somebody is badly mistaken, somebody didn't understand what was said to them, or somebody may be lying, which I think is especially egregious, is especially a horrible thing to do, knowing that this blood clot and vaccine already has the tinge it already has the slant it already has. I think it's within everyone's interest to try to be as truthful as possible. So I would really like to see what the bottom of this is. I would like to know which doctors told them that, and if those doctors did tell them that, what exactly they saw that drew them to that conclusion. Either way though, however this turns out, and this is why I think it isn't being paid much mind to, either way, however this turns out, I don't think much people's minds are changed by it. If you were already comfortable enough to take the vaccine and you thought that if it comes my time, I'll just take the vaccine, this would not have changed your mind. And if you're one of the people that already thought, hey, I don't really trust what's going on here, this would not have changed your mind either. Because generally speaking, if you do not trust the vaccine, it's because you do not trust the authorities. Because these same authorities have been telling us that the vaccine is safe for quite some time now. And if you don't believe it yet, well then you just don't trust them. And that is quite fine. Because to be quite honest, I don't really trust them either. And with good cause. Many of the authorities have given us a lot of good cause to not trust them. And I don't blame anyone for taking that cause literally. Now, a lot of the decisions that are being made don't seem to add up to me. The sense of them, it just eludes me. And that, I think, is part of the reason why many people are struggling to keep trusting authorities. Because when they give us data, when they give us information, and then the decisions that are made with the information that is given, they don't seem to correlate with each other. They don't seem to add up. So we know now that the virus struggles to spread in hot, windy, open conditions, which just so happens to be the exact conditions of the beach. We saw this happen in multiple countries. And after the lockdowns of the beach that occurred in the United Kingdom and in some other countries, it was noted that it does not really make sense because it does not spread on the beach. So you're locking down an area that isn't at risk. I can understand though that many people say, especially in our island in Trinidad, that a beach lime, a beach day, isn't just you go to the beach and swim in the water and walk up and down the sand. It's a fete, it's a party, it's a lime. So there's a lot of social gathering and interaction that occurs with that. But to that I wonder, and those gatherings already prohibited, they changed the number of people that can be gathered in one place from 10 to 5. So isn't it possible to just go along and see and make sure that it's only 5 people there and decrease the overcrowding on the beaches, being that either way the police are being used on the beach to arrest people that go to bathe. So it's not like it's going to be wasting police manpower to be at the beach because they're already there guarding the beaches on an island, which is very strange. I don't think the police can guard all the beaches, so very likely what's going to happen is they'll guard the popular beaches and the unpopular beaches would be allowed to still have people there, which was what happened even during the original lockdown. You see, it's not really possible to stop human behavior. What people do, they do, and they generally do it in spite of the laws. What they'll try to do is find a different way to do it, a different route to do it. So you may be able to stop them from going to the most popular beaches, but some beaches may still be open. And then that makes the entire guideline, the entire rule, seem counterproductive. Wouldn't it have been better to just be honest with us and say, hey, we do not want large social gatherings, but the beach is a very good place to go with your family, so try to spread out. If you see a beach is crowded, go to another beach. We're an island, we have more than one beaches. You are free to go to the beaches and there are lots. Have you ever taken in the amount of acreage on a beach? How expansive a beach is? Go to Columbus Bay. Columbus Bay could take probably the entirety of Shoguanas in it and still be socially distanced. There's a lot of space on some of these beaches, and it is possible now to allow people to have outside recreational activities while still guarding against the increased gatherings. And it's been seen pretty clearly by now that there have been no outbreaks linked to the beach. And maybe there have been some that have not been reported, but there have been many instances where a weekend or a week has passed where there was a holiday and the beaches were crowded, and they did the study after and found that even with the crowded beaches, there has been no outbreak linked to a beach. So maybe ours has been linked, and maybe that data is out there, but they need to share it with us so that we can know, okay, well, this is the sense in it. We are that unique case where the virus is spreading rampantly on beaches. If not, it feels nearly like parents punishing us, where we think that some of the other things you're doing is causing some of this. So what we're going to do is take away some of your freedom in another area of your life. You're not doing good in school, so when you come home, you cannot play any games. And the government is not our parent. Their job isn't to parent the population. Their job is to make sure that the country remains safe and that they allow safe enough conditions for us to live our own lives and have our own freedoms. So, okay, I understand the argument that the government is in charge here to try to ensure that the safety of the entire population is kept. But there doesn't seem to be a direct line between this action and the safety of the population. And anytime there seems to be more of that kind of behavior where people are trying to figure out, okay, you say you're doing this for my safety, but I cannot see the direct line between the two. And don't tell me to trust you, because I do not trust you. So don't tell me to trust you that you know what you're doing and the reasoning is sure and there for my safety. Tell me what the reasoning is, and maybe the population will be much more willing to follow some of these guidelines. To quote it exactly from an article in The Guardian, and that's in the United Kingdom, Lucy Yardley, professor of health psychology at the University of Southampton, she is quoted as saying it's a really important message and this is the right time to push it home. She said, the difference between indoor and outdoor is huge. Every report about restrictions and enforcement focused on outdoor contacts distracts from the places where the transmission is really happening. And that seems to add up to me, because we have not seen yet, at least I haven't seen, where any data has been published showing that the majority of our cases are coming from any of our outdoor activities. So as much as you may say you do not want the crowding on the beaches, again, the burden is on the authorities to prove to us that these beaches are the catalyst that is causing the spike. And I think that's very important, especially when we consider that the spread of this virus is known to be by the vast majority indoors. And by closing the outdoors, closing the beaches, closing down some of the football sweats that would be going on, some of the football games, what you're doing is encouraging more people to remain inside. Remain inside where we know the virus spreads. So yes, there is some sense to decreasing the amount of people in one spot because the virus is spread by the aerosol spray leaving most people, meaning it's on your saliva, and as you speak, some of the smaller particles of your saliva could be in the air around you. And if it's an indoor area, what you would see is that that saliva can end up being breathed in by other people, which, as I said before, seems disgusting either way and may have an argument for a mask regardless of whether there is COVID or not, especially in some of the more crowded areas. But when you think about that spread, you understand why on a beach it's that difficult for it to spread. That's not the general conditions on a beach. And now, when these decisions are made and a lot of the population is questioning the data surrounding them, is questioning the reasoning surrounding them, then it leaves a gap between the trust from the population and what the authorities are saying. And if the population doesn't trust what you're saying, they won't listen to you. And the fact is, the nature of how our systems are run, being that we are supposed to be free societies, you are depending on the population to want to listen to you and obey these rules. So I think it's on the authorities to try to give proper reasoning for their rules and let the rules not seem just abstract and vai out of the blue. You want people to be able to say, okay, we understand why we have lost this amount of freedom in our country. It's because of X reason, and this is why, and we can stick with that. But as for me, personally, I am not the biggest beach fan. I like a good beach, but I can go to the beach and not even touch the water. I can enjoy just the sun, sea, and sand from the shores, and I'd need some shade with it. Sun, sea, sand, shoreline, and shade, and I'll be fine. But there are many people who this may actually be part of their relief, and it's easy to mock it and think of it as being trivial, but humans are by nature social creatures. We are not meant to be closed into small indoor surroundings, and by doing this, you are affecting people negatively. So it makes sense that we have proper reasoning for doing this, and it extends to all the other things. The alcohol not being served. I understand why they wouldn't want to serve alcohol in most restaurants, because alcohol has a tendency to decrease inhibitions, and then people may find themselves not obeying even other more simple forms of the guidelines. But when you consider that a lot of these changes affect some people's livelihoods very severely, you must understand also that a good reasoning must be given to it. It not affecting you, you may not even consider why. But when it affects somebody, they will really want to know why. I am sacrificing something here, and you're telling me it's for the betterment of my entire society. Well, you have to explain to me pretty clearly why.